Giving all glory and praises to the mighty Yah. We are Seter Elion, and today's podcast will be brought to you by the Duty of Man segment on marriage and relationships, part 6, hosted by yours truly and my great elder, Morey Yemuel Yisrael from the House of Israel. And today he's going to give us some information. So go ahead and get this video out and let's dive right in. Praise the mighty Yah.
Hallelujah.
How you feeling today, elder?
Oh man, I'm feeling, man. We're in the land of the living. It's a beautiful day.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a beautiful day. It's all about a mindset, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
You know, I can wake up and tell myself, which I'm not personally gonna do that. Man, it's just a messed up day. It's raining. It's cold or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna neglect the fact that I woke up.
Man,
So that's the first blessing of the day. So it's a beautiful day. After that, like I always say, it's up to me.
Absolutely.
But we're going to still continue on with these relationships that hopefully lead to marriage, or those that are already married. I can't say it enough. I'm literally passionate about the information that I can bring forth and hoping that it helps some people. But I want to start out by, first of all, do we have anybody already logged in? Yeah.
No, not yet. Probably still people still coming in and everything.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do, I'll start out with something else by saying this. In looking for a mate, somebody that you can see spending your life with, because that's the hope anyway. When a person is looking to build a relationship and hopefully that relationship leads to marriage, you want someone who, first of all, you can envision spending your life with. So before you get to that point, I think we have to, like I always say, vet a person.
Absolutely.
Right? And that just literally means investigating them, get to really know who they are, what they like, what they're about, if you guys would mesh together.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
If y'all compatible.
There you go. If you have some good commonalities together. I know some people like to believe that opposites attract, and that could be the case in some situations.
You think so?
Well, in some cases.
In some cases.
I'm not going to say in all cases, because if you don't really have too much in common, then that can initially be a problem as well.
Absolutely.
But I also think that when you investigate a person, you need to find out how emotionally mature they are, if that makes sense. So let me give you an example. Matter of fact, that almost a giveaway, so I shouldn't have said that. But say I got a woman over here that I've been dating, trying to build a relationship with, and she's still being vetted by me, right? Mm-hmm. I want to know how she's going to respond to certain things, because if I've already discussed with her and say, my whole purpose of dating is to initially find someone that I could make my wife.
Right.
Yeah. So she's already in the mindset that I'm not just out there trying to just hop from here to here to here to there. I am looking for someone who's going to be compatible with me.
That can play that queen role.
There you go. That can be that other portion of myself, right? That actually knows that she should represent me in a positive light. So say after about maybe 2 weeks, and we've been spending, out of the 2 weeks, we didn't spend every day together, but maybe 2 days. Mm-hmm. So we're vibing, as young folks say. We're vibing. Yeah. And I say, I'm kind of hungry. Go make me a sandwich, all right? And matter of fact, bring me something to drink too. And I'm doing that in that kind of manner just to see what her reaction is going to be. She don't know that. See, women have a way of testing men or whatnot, but I want to see what her demeanor is going to be, because I didn't say it harshly or anything like that. I was just like straight to the point, instead of saying, hey, baby, would you go make me a sandwich? Hey, go make me a sandwich. I'm kind of hungry. Hey, bring me something to drink too. I'm looking to see if she's going to fix that face and get it right, or what's going to be her response. If she's just going to say, okay, baby, I got you. Boom. Go down there and get it. Now, that's just a scenario, right? So I wish I had somebody that was on there right now, female, so I could see what her response would be to that.
Females, tap in on the chat.
Please tap in. Matter of fact, if you see this, or if you're just watching, you ain't tapped in, because I've got another part that I want to put to that, but I just can't do it yet. I just can't do that other part yet. Just can't do that other part yet, because I need to see the response from this part.
Now, what kind of test? You said this is a test of emotional maturity, right?
Well, just, yeah, emotional maturity, and just to see how she's going to respond to that. But I want to see her maturity level. So, matter of fact, let's get into some things about emotional maturity. That way, you and I, we can discuss those things. And by the way, if anybody comes on while we're discussing it, then they can chime in. I would love for someone, male or female, to chime in. But only do us this favor here. If you are interested in maintaining, if you already have a good relationship with a mate or whatnot, or if you're trying to develop a relationship, or if you're married or having issues or whatever, just chime in. But we're going to get this, we're going to get a good understanding. Now, today we're talking about emotional maturity.
Right.
Or should I say a lack thereof, which would be emotional immaturity. So let's talk about some things here. Emotional maturity is the art of regulating or controlling and using one's feelings in the most acceptable way. It helps the person to remain responsible for his or her feelings. Right?
For sure.
Now, let's talk about some emotional immature traits that a person's mate, or how some people like to say partner or whatnot, may have or may display. Emotional immature people might not self-reflect. They might not be very they may be very self-centered. Hear what I'm saying? Because we're going to discuss these after I just go through a few of them. We're going to discuss them. Again, an emotionally immature person, they might not self-reflect. They might be very self-centered. They may avoid hard conversations.
That's a red flag.
They may avoid hard conversations. And we know that in any relationship, there's going to come up some times where you have to have those difficult conversations. Exactly. Yeah. So how are you going to respond to? Are you going to get aggressive? Are you going to be straightforward? Are you going to be able to acknowledge certain things? A person might refuse to do their own work. In other words, if I know I have a certain level of immaturity, I got to be willing to do that work to make myself a good partner, as people like to say, but I'm saying a good mate. Let me put it that way. If I'm not willing to do work on issues that I know that I have, I should not be trying to be in a relationship, because I know that's going to be self-destructive. Makes sense to me?
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense to you?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You want to come into the relationship
self-aware. There you go. Yeah. And pretty much whole. But see, here's the thing. We all have issues. For sure. So let me make that clear. Yeah. I'm not trying to make it seem like some people are just perfect. No, we all are going to have issues. But once we recognize that we have those issues, and the only way we're going to recognize that is we're going to have to self-evaluate. In other words, I shouldn't be offended when I ask a person who deals with me on a regular basis, tell me how you perceive me to be. And however that is, and I need to be willing to listen. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because a lot of times we might tend to think that we're a certain way, or we project ourselves to be a certain way, but that might necessarily be the way an individual sees us. You see what I'm saying? So I might...
And that's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
A person might perceive me to be arrogant because I'm confident. You see what I'm saying? Right. Or a person might perceive me to be annoying or something because I like to talk. You see?
Right.
So a lot of times a person they're reflecting who they are. I mean, that's just like if you see a person and they don't really like you, but they tolerate you. But you're a good guy, right? Mm-hmm. So what they're doing is they're letting you know how they are. Let me break that down a little bit better for you. If I don't like you, and I don't really have a reason not to like you, that's a reflection of who I am. Ain't got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again. Yeah. If I don't like you, say you come in the room and people, they gravitate to you.
Right.
And you be having some good conversations, but that don't happen for me. So for whatever reason, because you're that type of person that people, they like to camp themselves around, they like to conversate with you, then there might be something going on with me because I don't appreciate that because I don't get that. So I don't like you. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Mm. That's got everything to do with me. That's a reflection of who I am.
There it is. Yeah.
But a lot of people won't admit to that. Mm. And see, if a person won't be honest with themselves, ain't nobody else got nothing coming. If I'm gonna lie to me, why am I gonna be truthful with you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
See, we're gonna get real deep with this. Now, the next thing that an emotionally immature person, they might be stuck in unresolved trauma.
That might be the number one reason right there.
You see, in a lot of us, we've had trauma. But a lot of us, we might not even consider that.
Yeah.
You know, we might not consider that we're older now, but something happened to us or different type of situations that we encountered when we were young and we just never really got over that. So now certain things are a trigger. And see, that trigger word is fairly new now.
Yeah, it is fairly new. Something I wanted to say about that. Mm-hmm. One thing I find among our people, when they go through unresolved trauma, I think a lot of people do know that they have issues, but I think it kind of, and I want to know your thoughts on this, I think eventually it kind of hardens into something called pride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unresolved trauma, it turns into a pride, and they wear that like, yeah, okay, so what? Yeah, I know I'm, you know what I mean? I know I'm this, I know I'm that, like, and, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts on that? Like,
well,
when unresolved trauma turned into pride.
See, it's so crucial because a lot of people have that trauma that came from their childhood. And like I said before, a lot of times young ladies have what you might call daddy issues. That's a fact. But also, guys may have those very same issues.
That's true.
Daddy issues. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So when we're growing up and we don't have certain things, or we see a lot of arguing, we see a lot of things that are just not right. A lot of things that bother us that's going on, and we might see it through other family members. We might see it in our communities often or whatnot. And the bottom line is it does have an effect on us, but we tend to call those things just normal behavior. That's just the way it is. That don't make it right.
No, that don't make it right.
That don't make it right. So what we do is we grow up with the mindset that something abnormal is what we call normal behavior. So again, I've always said that we're monkey see, monkey do people. I got that from Moray Alicia. And I started to see it that way because we're people that do what we see done, and we repeat the things that we've heard said. And so a lot of times we're taking misinformation or bad information and we're ingesting it and turning it to, that's just the reality. That's just the way it is. Again, like I expressed the last time we were talking, when a person might say, man, you know where I'm from? I'm from the zone. Right. You know, I'm from Avondale. I'm from this place. I'm from that place. So what they're doing is they're taking a geographical location and saying, if you're in this location here, you have to be a certain way.
Real talk.
When we think about that, how foolish is that?
No, that's foolish.
That means I'm allowing myself to become a product of my environment, even though I know my environment is toxic.
Yeah.
So if that's who I am, then that's what I'm bringing into a relationship, whether I be male or female.
All that toxicity.
You see what I'm saying? And then we call that normal. And so when someone don't want to put up with it, are you just weak?
That's a good one.
You just weak. Speak on it. You just weak. Or you can't have female mind. You just can't handle me.
or they say a real man.
There you go.
With this, that, and the third.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
That's what it is. Like, people, like a lot of individuals, when you in a relationship, if people are coming from this type of environment, you know what I'm saying, or they bringing in some type of toxicity to that relationship. If this is something you don't want to put up with, or if this is something you know you're better than, right? Like, I know my worth. I'm cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? They will guilt trip you and manipulate you and say, "Oh, you're not a, you know what I mean, a real man, a real MF with or a real N with so and so." You know what I mean? I've experienced that.
And we run into that in our communities often. Often to where it's almost like you're the oddball if you live differently. You're the square if you live differently. See, here's the thing. If you have moral value, then he's weird. He's the goody two-shoes. Something wrong with him. Yeah. He trying to act white. Saying if you're black, you can't have good morals, you can't have good values.
Or they call you arrogant.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Because you're different. And see, the thing is, we have to learn to be independent thinkers. We have to be in charge of our own destiny. We can't look to just try to follow everybody else. And we see the madness, and people are not being prosperous in that way, but we follow suit because it just seemed like that's the right thing to do. Give you an example, man. I work in the school system, and I see little 12-year-olds because they come to where I'm at when they're in the 7th grade, right? So 7 through 12. Now imagine you have 7th and 8th graders, which are actually middle schoolers in a high school setting. But when they get to that middle school, or should I say to this high school, but they're actually middle school students, we expect them to behave like they're in high school. But get this, the high schoolers are just like, some of those are much, much worse behaved than those who just came in the 7th grade.
Oh yeah.
And I listen to profanity all day long, from each grade level. So here's the thing, and I tell these young folk, if you don't talk like that around your mother, because it's usually mom, but sometimes I'll say around your parent or the person that raised you, then what makes you think it's acceptable to me?
In front of me?
Why would you do that? Even addressing me. Yeah. Why would you do that to me? Do you talk to your mother like that? You know, the bottom line is, oh no. Then what makes you think you can do that to me?
Man.
And I'm even older than your mother.
That's the $1 million question.
And we deal with that all the time. Check this out. Dealing with more emotional immaturity. An emotional immature person might blame you and other people for their problems.
Yeah.
They're going to blame you for their problems. We're all responsible for self in the way we conduct ourselves. This is like when it goes to being about accountability. If a person is doing something, but that person over there and that person over there doing something too, but this person get caught and they don't get caught. You just picking on me. Everybody else was doing it. There's a couple other people doing it, but I didn't see them. If they were doing it, I saw you.
Yeah.
So you have a lack of accountability. Now, there you go.
It's about what you did.
Regardless of the age, you see what I'm saying? Regardless of whether that's a school ager or regardless of whether that's supposed to be a almost an elder type person up in age or somebody who's 30, 35, 45 years, whatever. Because a lot of people, male and female, refuse to accept accountability. Now, if they refuse to accept accountability, you know what that's going to tell me?
What's that?
They're mature.
Wow.
Because we're going to talk about some things that when a person's mature, the things that they do. We're gonna cover a lot of things.
But a lot of that comes from not coming from an environment that teaches you ownership.
And see, where are we supposed to first start learning that at?
I would say at home.
There you go. You hit it on the head.
Yeah.
At home.
Ownership.
But see, here's the thing. It can best be done at home when an individual have both parents in the house.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Both parents in the house. See, because here's the deal. A lot of time when you have the father and the mother in the house, even if a child gave that mother a harder time, 9 times out of 10 when it comes to that father, if you have a strong man, and I ain't talking about no muscle-bound man, if you have a strong man head in that house, I guarantee the respect level is going, not that they should disrespect their mom, but it's going to be different when you're dealing with that father. Because that father is going to command that house if he's a good man.
Period.
He's going to command that house. So when things are not being dealt, when the child isn't dealing right with mom, and mom say, all right, I'm going to let your father deal with it.
Exactly.
Then that child hear, hey, come here.
Right. And that father is going to force, is by force, is going to make that child take ownership of what they did.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
But we within the school system and just in life in general, we dealing with a lot of individuals and a lot of people that refuse to take ownership.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Why do you think that is?
Like I said, it's not being done at home. It's not being girded. It's not being installed within them when they are young.
And it's got to be.
You know what I'm saying?
It's because you got to grow into it.
You got to grow into it.
You know, an emotionally immature person might keep conversation on the surface level only.
That's interesting.
They keep it on the surface. In other words, you can't talk about nothing really serious because they can't handle serious conversation.
Damn.
Because they're not mature enough to deal with serious conversations because they haven't been allowing themselves to be held accountable.
Wow.
So when someone else is having a serious conversation and there has to be accountability on both sides, somebody, if not maybe both parties, might be unaccountable. They're immature. But a mature person is going to want to have those conversations that need to be had.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because without those crucial, I like to call them crucial conversations. Without those crucial conversations, a relationship can just topple. It can just crumble. It can disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that mature person, say if you have one mature and one immature, that mature person is going to be the one who wants to lead those conversations. And they might say something. And remember how I said when people are having conversations, or if I say something on this podcast that so-called triggers someone, why would they be triggered if they weren't guilty of that very thing that I might be talking about? Because if they're not guilty of it, it shouldn't offend them.
It shouldn't affect them.
Even if they say, well, you can't talk about other people like that. So you said other people may not be that way?
You know what, Elder Young, what you're talking about right now is a problem that most black like this is what's wrong with black people. We are afraid of having those hard conversations. You know what I'm saying? Because of our emotional immaturity, and because of that, things never change with us. The only time I've literally changed, I have changed quickly, I'm gonna say. I've changed quickly when somebody had a crucial conversation with me. And they came to me on a serious note, like, hey, so-and-so, you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling like this, or, you know, I desire this, or so-and-so, like, or, man, I feel like you shouldn't have did that. At that point, the character, my character is exposed. And at that point, I'm like, something triggers in my mind and say, you know what, I gotta switch that up, I gotta change.
But you know,
we don't want to have those conversations though. Mm-hmm. So we continue on in this perpetual cycle of filth.
You're 100% right, but most people get defensive.
Yeah, they do.
They get defensive.
They do.
They go straight into denial. Mm-hmm. And if a person won't be, everybody knows the way they are.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the way they are. And if a person truly want to be right, then they have to entertain those conversations. But a lot of times when males and females are conversating about a thing, it'll be sometimes the male might make those little faces too. And then that tells you something about that male as well. You see what I'm saying? We can get into that at a later time. But when a female is doing that, say like if she wants to be a wife, one of the first things she needs to learn is certain things to a man is extremely disrespectful.
We talked about that yesterday.
And see, check it out. And that opened up a door, didn't it? Because a lot of people, and I understand
people get stirred up on that one.
A lot of people get stirred up because, see, here's the thing. If I'm trying to help you, I'm not trying to protect your feelings. I need you to self-reflect. I'm not trying. If I'm trying to help you, I can't shield you from I need you to be exposed to who you are. Because if you spend a lot of time with me, you'll say you're around me all the time. You might end up knowing me better than I know myself.
Damn, that's deep.
Especially if a person that individual don't consider their actions. You see what I'm saying? How my actions might affect other people.
Real talk.
Sometimes a lack of maturity will destroy a possibility of a relationship, let alone a relationship. So like I said, when you see guys and young ladies in relationships that don't work out,
right?
Say they're together for short periods of time, or they can't keep a relationship, and whether it's the male or the female, next thing you know, they dealing with somebody else, and eventually that's somebody else, and eventually that's somebody else, and they never have a stable relationship to where maybe they might consider marriage or something, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why those relationships are failing. In a lot of cases, it's because of immaturity.
That's deep.
Immaturity. But you tell somebody, quit acting immature. First thing they're going to do is what? Get defensive.
Get defensive. Interesting.
And the first thing is not going to be to take inventory. But here's the thing. Only I can recognize my flaws. In other words, you may recognize them, don't get me wrong, but only I can recognize them to where I'm going to do something about it.
Yeah.
If I refuse to recognize that I'm not perfect, you see what I'm saying? If I think I'm just perfect the way I am, that's the way you got to be here. You know, again, man, I'm from zone 15. I'm from here. I'm from there.
Let me ask you a question. This emotional maturity, when it comes to people getting defensive when you're trying to correct them or reprove them on something, do you believe it comes from more of an insecurity or an ego, or perhaps somebody mishandled them in the past? Because, you know, like when you love somebody, you know, you're going to tell them the truth, but you're going to say it in a way to where you don't want to just shatter them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
you don't want to
right.
just shatter them or disrespect them. Like, you're going to say it in a way that's loving and that the person can understand you coming from a sincere place. You know, so the question is like, you think people get defensive because they're trying to more so protect their ego, or it's like more of an insecurity thing, or is it like, you know, past, dealing with people from the past, maybe, you know, to where they're feeling like they're being attacked. I'm gonna say
they feel like they're attacked. You got to remember I said, this is so deep. This is so deep. When you're dealing with an individual who've had previous relationships before you, right? They've had previous encounters. They've had previous physical moments with those partners in those relationships.
Real tough.
Anytime they're being intimate in the physical sense,
right,
they're taking on that other individual's DNA.
DNA.
You see what I'm saying? So when you have say like a female, for example, who's had the DNA of several different individuals, that changes who she is. That's the reason a lot of times when you're trying to talk to somebody about a situation, if they get overreactive, you hear what I'm saying? if they be overly reactive and throw an adult tantrum, that lets you know. That lets you know that they're emotionally immature. Emotionally immature. And remember, I said females, for the most part, live in their emotions. And any man who's had dealings with females know you can be up 1 minute, the next minute you're down, then you want this, but then you don't want it later on. You do something else, you change your mind about it. You know, that's the reason what I was saying. A woman's emotions is more like an ocean versus a swimming pool. Because that swimming pool is contained. But that ocean is vast. There's waves all in that ocean. So we got to consider all those different things. That's the reason, if you think about this, a woman was ideally, I know what I'm saying, ladies, ideally, they were supposed to be virgins.
Yes, sir. Indeed.
You see what I'm saying?
Indeed.
And that was for a reason. Mm-hmm. It's much easier for a female to pair bond with that one guy. She ain't got to have no comparisons and this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. She don't know nothing about the big ship versus the smaller ship. She don't know nothing about this or that. You see what I'm saying?
Got a comment right here from More Yaakov. He said, we must understand that a sexual relationship is more than a physical one. It's much deeper than that.
Absolutely.
Shout out to More Yaakov.
Absolutely. Hallelujah. Absolutely. But see, here's the thing. A lot of times, people, males and females, mm-hmm. enter into physical relationships when they're not even ready. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When they're not even ready. Mm-hmm. Because during that time, most, again, I got to say, most of them are emotionally immature.
Damn.
Most. Mm-hmm. Most. Yeah. Because remember, we're coming from, and I'm talking about people who look like you and me. Right. And, you know, there's, say, some randomness in somebody coming from nice or upper scale areas to where they don't see certain things, and where mom and dad stay together, you know. Right. They were high school sweethearts, got married, raised children together. But when we're looking here now in modern times, a lot of times you tell a person that they're cute, and next thing you know, they're laying together. Oh, yeah. You tell a person they're cute, next thing you know,
true story.
9 months later, here comes Junior.
True story.
You see what I'm saying?
True story.
And so we have to be mindful that all relationships you need to take time with them. You need to learn the individual that you're dealing with. You need to look, males and females need to look and see if there are red flags there. Because guys play games. Females play games. You got a lot of people out there playing grown up, trying to do grown up things, but don't have a mature mindset yet.
Real talk.
Because if we had a mature mindset, we wouldn't have time for those games.
That's real talk.
So an emotionally immature person might drain your energy because of their neediness. Just drain your energy.
Can't work.
They can't be on their own. They can't be on their own. Where you at? What you doing? Now this could be male or female.
Now you saying that's emotional immaturity?
Emotional immaturity.
Damn. Y'all hear that?
Emotional. We're gonna talk about what it's like when somebody's emotionally mature. Yeah. But any questions by way of the internet right now on anything that we just discussed as far as being emotionally immature? And I would advise people to pay attention to self. Because if we recognize that we have some issues, right? And we all have some issues. You know, our issues might be different, but we all have issues. If we don't work on those issues for self, then we're going to project those issues onto someone else. And see, that can be detrimental to any relationship. Yeah. And one of the biggest things, then, who was that?
More Yaakov.
More Yaakov. Check this out. Answer me this question here, because I know you got to be familiar with it. Matter of fact, when you respond, please respond with your age as well. But if you're a mature man, you've experienced times when you may have a conversation, say like with the other sex or with a female, and you get one of those faces like, even before you can finish saying what you're saying, you get that disagreeing look. Like, it's hard for me to make those faces, you know, but it's that look of disapproval. Or why are you talking to me, trying to straighten me out, or who do you think you are? A lot of times, a woman might know that it's disrespectful, because I'm sure guys have in their past have most likely shared that with them, that it's disrespectful.
It's a test. They test you.
But see, you ain't going to come across a woman who's not going to try to test you. You're going to get tested all through the relationship, you see.
Whether you know it or not.
Whether you know it or not. Sometimes a woman will be testing you, and she's been so used to doing it, she might not realize she's testing you at that particular time. You see. So, and they do that for various reasons.
What you think about that? Should we test one another?
Well, see, here's the thing. There's an old saying. Have you ever heard, Like, yeah, girl, she got him trained. Yeah. Like a woman trained her man. Finger. I'm going to say this, and it's going to be offensive to some ladies. But see, here's the thing. Your husband, I'm going to use the same word, train. I'm going to use that just for the sake of using that word. Your husband, if you're going to be married, your husband is going to, I'm going to use this word, train you so that you know how to deal with him. Now, some women might think that's harsh because when you're dealing with women, words matter instead of what those words actually mean. Indeed. See, you want to be able to cater to the things that your husband likes, so he needs to teach you those things that he would like you to do because you're going to be his helpmate. If you're married to a Hebrew man, you're not his partner. No. So many women tend to think that marriage is a partnership where the Almighty, he's the one who ordained marriage. There you go. And we went here before to Genesis, the 3rd chapter, the 16th verse. Let's go there one more time. I hate to be redundant, but go there for me.
Hold on. Dealing with emotional immaturity, I just wanted to read this proverb. I pulled this up a little bit.
Okay, read that.
It says, the heart knows his own bitterness. It's Proverbs 14:10.
Mm-hmm.
The heart knows his own bitterness, and the stranger doeth not intermeddle with his joy.
Man, and that's why people should, especially if they're immature. You see what I'm saying? People should mind their own business, but we didn't became experts at trying to be in other people's business. You know that?
Yeah.
We become experts at trying to be in other people's business. If that wasn't the case, like I say, if I say something that a woman would disagree with, right? Then she should be responsible for saying why she disagrees with that. Because 9 times out of 10, their response is going to be, well, you're trying to say that's everybody. No, I've said plenty of times. It might sound like I'm talking about all females, or when I'm talking about guys, it might sound like I'm talking about all guys. But I've said a bunch of times, I'm definitely not talking about all. So if somebody is not guilty of it, why are they trying to defend somebody else who may be guilty of that thing that I'm talking about, and if they're not?
Real talk, yeah.
See, we can only be responsible for who? For self. We can only be responsible for self. Let's go to Genesis 3:16 real quick, and then we're going to keep this thing going. Because a lot of people, like I said, they'll drain your energy because of their neediness. Right. Sometimes people need to defend other people. That's sort of like girl code.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying?
They gonna back each other up wrong or right.
Right. She's a woman, so she's always right. And guess what? You're a man, so you're always
wrong. Man, you get it. All right. Genesis 3:16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
Stop for a second. Who's speaking right there?
Most High.
The Most High, the creator of heaven and earth, is speaking to who? He's speaking to the woman. Mm-hmm. Not the man, right? He's speaking to the woman. Go ahead.
Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over you.
Now, if you say that to a woman, then those very words right there, that husband is supposed to rule. See, sometimes we got to say things and put it in a softer way, right? Because words tend to matter, especially to females, right? Now, that just don't sound right. That seems mean, this, that, and the other. So when we talk about that desire, that's that sexual desire. That don't mean if I like football, you have to like football. You see what I'm saying? But your desire should be to, how can I please my husband? Because there's supposed to be a trade-off. But here in modern times, there ain't no real trade-off. Women, modern women, again, are looking for traditional men, even in their so-called boyfriend, to be providers. A man's provisions should be for his wife, exclusively. That's just like his wife, or the woman that he's entertaining to be his wife, should be for him exclusively. Because say, like, for example, if a man asked a woman to marry him, in this country, that's you'll call that an engagement if she agreed to marry him, right? But it's been part of our law and custom that if a man asks you to, matter of fact, law, that if a man, a Hebrew Israelite man, asks a woman to marry him, and then she says yes, then she's off the market.
That's right.
At that particular time, now don't get overexcited when I say this. At that particular time, that woman becomes that man's wife. Now, I'm going to give him a little pause for a second before I add the rest to that. You already know what I'm going to say. That means she's off the market. She shouldn't be laying with anybody. That don't mean that man should go into her at that time. He takes a wife and then he marries her. You see what I'm saying, ladies? So it's almost like the same thing. But now, if she lies with somebody when she's already betrothed to somebody, oh, that's an issue. Speak on it.
No, that's against the law.
Make it clear to some of these that may visit some of these people, whether it be male or female, because sometimes two is better than one. They might say, "Well, he don't know what he's talking about." So, confirm what I'm saying, please.
Now, in the law, once you're betrothed, that means you have made an oath to eventually tie that knot with that man. Now, that exchange more than likely was done between father and the man that wanted the woman, right? Now, at some point, if you go and lay with another man, that's you breaking the law. You breaking the law, and it's a high possibility that you would have lost your life for that. It's a very high possibility. So I just want to make that clear to everybody. When you are engaged and you are betrothed to a man, you exclusively belong to that man. Y'all shouldn't have, intercourse until y'all make it official. But
there you go.
You still belong to that man.
Then later on,
you made that oath. You know what I mean? You gotta stick to that oath.
Mm-hmm. Well, later on, you have a big gathering and whatnot. And then after that, when you have that ceremony, then you can consummate that marriage.
Real talk.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm always saying that we are people who always put the cart before the horse.
Yes, we do, sir.
I gave an old stat, and I said 40%. This is an older stat. 40% of women here in this country, in the United States, go into a marriage with either one or more children. 40% of women. Now think about what I'm saying.
Right.
40% of women.
40%.
That means we really been putting the cart before the horse. Yeah. So think of all the people if we were back in that day when that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It would be a lot of people who are no longer on the planet, right?
Real talk.
Not standing vertical anyway.
Real talk.
Now let's talk about some emotionally mature people, some of the traits that they have. If a person's emotionally mature, they often take responsibility for their actions and their behavior.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
How often do you hear, and this goes for both parties, male and female, but I want to ask this question, how often do you hear or have you heard in your time that a woman will acknowledge that she's out of order and come to you and apologize without you having to try to have conversations with her just to try and get her to apologize for her actions and her behavior and all this sort of type of stuff? How often do that happen? Men, if you watch, how often do that happen? That your woman, whether it be your girlfriend or your wife, will just come to you without you having to approach them, and then it becomes an argument because you're trying to get somebody to take accountability.
You might hear that once a year.
Might.
Might.
But this is a serious thing, you see. Now, emotionally mature people, they have deep and meaningful discussion.
You know what? Back to that point. How easier is it to interact and communicate with a person that has that level of integrity, especially a woman? At that point, our communication is ace, and communication is rule the relationship.
There you go.
So if you got that type of integrity in you as a woman, you're able to do that, man. Because you find that trait more so in men.
Yeah,
you find that trait more so in men. I'm gonna say honorable men. I know you got a lot of people out here that's messy.
And honorable men.
Yeah. You find that more in honorable men, but that's a rare thing to really find that in a woman. So that would take that communication And that man's love for you should grow after that. Like, man, this woman she's shining. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I have female family members that have said out of their mouth to me, you know, and I'm not going to say whether they're cousins, immediate family members or whatnot, right. But females have said they can know that they're wrong and won't apologize. But me as a 65-year-old man, I've been knowing that for decades.
Yeah.
For decades.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see, that shows emotional immaturity when you won't. Mm-hmm. We should never have to have a conversation that turns into an argument because, see, here's the thing. Words can hurt worse than a punch in the eye. Yeah. You can punch me in my eye. Bam! My eye goes dangling all out and hanging there. You know what I'm saying? And eventually, you know, it'll heal. Yeah. Eventually it'll heal. Mm-hmm. But words will keep chief friends apart for the rest of their life.
Real tough.
A person can get into an argument and somebody say something that was out of pocket, right? Mm-hmm. And never apologize. They said something that was hurtful and destructive, might not even been true or whatever the case, right? Mm-hmm. And those chief friends might not speak for the rest of their life. It gets to the point to where one of them might remember that they don't speak, but might have forgot exactly what the situation was. They got to that point. They just know they don't get along no more.
It's usually something they said.
Because somebody just wanted an apology. Mm-hmm. Because words hurt. My whole point is words will harm people worse than that physical. Because that physical gonna heal up. But those words people remember. Mm-hmm. Well, she said this to me. That just cut me up. He said that to me. That just cut me up. Mm-hmm. You see? Now, we spoke about Genesis. Go to the 17th verse before I go on any farther here, because I don't want the women to think that this is just one-sided. Because in that 16th verse, in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, the 16th verse, the Almighty was talking to the woman, but in the 17th verse, he gave that man his consequence. Oh. And they got these things because of their disobedience.
Period. On the 17th verse. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of your wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow you will eat of it all the days of your life.
Now here's
and
the
that's
thing.
real.
Here's the thing. Yeah. The husband and the wife already knew what was forbidden. So the woman, like I say, women have a certain power, you know, have a certain power where they can persuade a man just to do some things maybe that they shouldn't even do.
Oh, yeah.
Adam knew better. Yeah. And Eve knew better. Mm-hmm. So Eve ate from it first and then she gave it to him. He was there. It ain't like he wasn't there. You see what I'm saying?
And he knew what
he knew
it was.
And she knew.
You know what I mean? He knew what he was doing, for sure.
But he did something that was a violation, and then when we do those things, we have to suffer the consequences.
Yes, we do.
You see, now again...
What's your thoughts on this? Because I want to get your opinion on this. It said, cursed is the ground for your sake, and sorrow you will eat of it all the days of your life. What's your thoughts on that?
A man we got to work.
Yeah.
We got to work until we can't work no more for the most part. Yeah. Because that provider that these women that's in boyfriend girlfriend relationships, that provider that she wants, that's not what she should get. That's not what she should get. You have a matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you a question. Since a man, and the answer to the question, that means a man he got to do what he got to do to be a provider for his family. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Real tough.
And his wife is his helpmate. That don't mean she don't do anything.
Right.
Because she's almost like if she's traditional. Because again, I explained a while ago that marketing came out for women once they were able to start working and that. So they're working on the outside of the house. So instead of marketing things for men just to buy, they start marketing. They say, well, let's get this woman's money too, instead of just getting this man's money. We can get this woman and this man's money, so now the industry makes more money. And who are the easiest people? I could sell a daggone water pitcher with a clock on it. The average man ain't gonna buy that, but women will be, oh, that's cute. You know, and she got a water pitcher with a clock on it in the refrigerator. You see what I'm saying? So certain things are marketed to women so that they can get, you know what I'm saying? So that the industry can make more money. But I don't want to get ahead of myself here. What was I getting ready to say?
Now, the woman in this story, she got Adam to eat the fruit, right?
Right.
And we know the power of a woman to persuade a man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things that we miss in there that we kind of overlook is the fact that the woman actually hearkened to lies from the serpent. And it was the lies that persuaded this woman. Exactly. Not the truth.
Exactly. And so here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm going to give you another scenario.
Right.
Say I'm doing something. Say I'm not me. Right. I'm not this character. Another individual, whatever. Right. Is doing something that's against the law. Okay. And he's doing whatever it is that's against the law, providing for his family. Or maybe he's not providing for his family. He might just be providing for himself because he ain't married, but he got a girlfriend over there. You see what I'm saying? And with that girlfriend, maybe he has a child.
Okay.
Right? And so the police has been after this individual, but finally they get a little thing to where they finally approach this woman, this significant other, right? Whether they're married, not married or whatever, say they even have a child. So the system, the police officer, whoever, they're going to convince this woman, if she don't help them, that she's going to go down with him and that they're going to take their baby and place their baby in the system. So they're going to use manipulation tactics on her, saying, so it's up to you because we going to take that baby. That baby's going to be put in foster care or whatever. And you ain't going to never see that baby no more. And you and him going to be doing some hard time. You're going to be fighting women up off of you. And this. They'll tell him any kind of thing because they know that woman is going to be his weakest link. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. See, and I've said this before. If somebody is trying to get at a certain person and they know they have a good relationship with this woman over here, all they got to do is get to that woman. If I need to pull him out, snatch his woman up.
Dang.
Snatch his woman up. See, certain things you cannot do to a man because that man is going to respond, especially if he's that man and he's down with his woman. He got his woman back. But a woman is going to be that weaker vessel. That's why a lot of relationships end. 80% of women initiate divorce and walk away from a marriage with or without children. Again, because they were unhappy. That don't mean you're going to be unhappy. We talked about this before. That don't mean you're going to be unhappy all the time. Mm-hmm. You're just unhappy at that time. If you had a couple that's been married 40, 50 years, you think everything was smooth as butter in their relationship the whole time?
Ain't no way.
They learned how to work their issues out. They learned how to have those crucial conversations. They had to grow into that maturity because the marriage is supposed to be a lasting thing. But today's people are so daggone watered down, they're not like the people of old. They're weak. That old expression, when the tough get going. I mean, when the going get tough, the tough get going. They're quick to run. Yeah. See, when people come to these relationships, you got to throw away your track shoes. You got to throw them away. You got to don't even have them in the closet. You got to throw away your track shoes.
Real talk.
Because they so quick to want to run.
Nah, that's real. That's real.
You know, we have to learn how to be mature, responsible adults, because when we have children, we have to teach our children how to grow into their maturity and be responsible. But what happens today is it's usually only one parent there, and that one parent is that emotional one. Every now and again, it'll be a male, but usually when a house is divided, who gets the children? The woman, and that ain't even law.
That ain't law.
You see what I'm saying? But this man's law is devised to break this man down.
Break him down, break his house
If
down.
he can't give you no money, don't let him see his child.
Damn.
Woo! Don't let him see his child. Ooh. And some women are really good at teaching their child, your daddy ain't SHIT. Your daddy don't love you. Your daddy don't do this. And in a lot of cases, it's because that man no longer wants to be with that woman.
There it is.
And if he wants his child, no, you taking me with that child or you ain't seeing the child.
Man, that's wild.
That's not in all cases, but that's in a bunch of cases.
Well, what percent you think that's happening at to where a man no longer wants to, like we talked about yesterday, we talked about a man has the ability to divorce a woman if he finds some uncleanliness. It said if you find no favor in the eyes of this woman, you know what I mean?
You give it a bill of divorcement and she leaves.
Or you find some uncleanliness and you send her out in the house, you know what I'm saying? But what percent today is women holding children hostage because
a large percentage, very, because the court system is designed for that woman. Period. It's designed. Why do you think the majority of women end up with the children?
Damn.
Look here. I'm gonna say this. Even on the dollar bill, it says "In God We Trust," right? In God We Trust. Now that's this country's money, right?
Yeah.
But church and state has been separated.
Yeah.
You can't even talk about so-called God in certain areas.
Yeah, you can't.
So it's hey man, it is what it is, and we're supposed to be the light for the world.
That's right.
We're supposed to be the light. We're supposed to be the ones that's teaching the world. Israel is supposed to be teaching the world. But see, here's the thing. If you have somebody that's just going to be immature, period, all the way around, not just emotionally immature, but just act like they don't. Let me give you an example. I'm going to use you for an example. This is just an example. Say, King, say you and me, we grew up together. Say we the same age. Say we went to school together up in about 3rd grade, man. You were just off the chain. You were crazy in 3rd grade, just doing whatever you wanted to do. 4th, 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade, man, you just got worse standing, trouble, and all kinds of things, right? So by the time you were at, say, like the 10th grade, even just, man, you just got bad. So you and your family say y'all move. I don't even like using you for this. Say another individual, right? And so that individual moved out of town. He came back. He left when he was about in 10th grade. He came back when he was about 26, 27 years old. Y'all reconnected. And you discovered, man, this dude is way worse. Way worse. But he's still your cat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Way worse.
Right.
Did he grow up or did he grow older?
He grew older.
Are you able to break that down? Because I agree with you.
Right.
He just grew older. He didn't grow up. Because
Damn.
after you give your explanation, then I'm going to break it down and then we're going to move on.
Shit, Nas said it in the song. He talked about in the song people living in their second childhood. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they don't like they say, wisdom comes as you get older. You know what I'm saying? Wisdom comes with age. Person never really changed who they were. They just got worse. You know what I mean? Like they continued down that path to destruction. So as the scriptures say, old men are not always wise. You know what I'm saying? Some people literally just grow old. They don't grow in their wisdom.
Let me break it down a little bit more. I'm going to use, and I like to use a plant as an example.
Right.
If I'm growing a tomato plant, right, and I plant that seed, and I'm comparing this to like a individual, you'll see where I'm going with it.
So
I plant that tomato seed. I'll water it, let it get the sunlight, everything that it needs. Over a period of time, we're going to start seeing that little green stem come up, right? The little stem, ain't too much on it. Next thing you know, keep nurturing it so that it can evolve.
right.
Next thing you're going to see, a little leaf maybe coming on there, right? Keep nurturing it because it's got to grow. It's got to get seasoned. It's got to get ripened. It's got to get ready. Next thing you know, we see a little bud that grows on top of it. So now you got that little stem. You got a little leaf. You got a little bud on there. Over a period of time, you see another little leaf coming up there. That stem starts to get a little thicker. And now instead of it being here, it's up here. You know, it's growing and everything. Over a period of time, this thing came up. Now that little thing that was a little bud, now it's green up there, and it's growing, it's getting a little bigger. Next thing you know, it's then turned red and everything, and it's starting to get even seeds inside of it. The leaves are growing and everything. In other words, it had to grow, it had to evolve. And see, when a person when they one way, and then when they get to be a certain age up here, they still that way. They grew older, they didn't evolve, they didn't go through those cycles of changes that they needed to go through in order to become mature. So that they become seasoned, they become ripe, and they become ready. And in a lot of cases, that's what's happened to us as a people. You see what I'm saying? Because we didn't have that direction and we didn't get the nurturing that we needed. So we gravitated to those around us and we allowed other people that's our own age exactly. We allowed the music to influence. We allowed the community that we live in to influence us and the people around us. You've heard, for example, people fighting over their hood, over their block, but don't own no property in that hood or that block.
No real estate.
You see what I'm saying? How can I claim it to be mine? So I'm allowing a geographical location to determine who I am. Now keep in mind, that land can't do anything to anybody. It's the people that inhabit that land that can be bad.
Oh yeah.
So we're influenced by the people that inhabit certain areas. I've learned over a period of time, man, a lot of people, they love attention, but they only crave negative attention because it makes them feel like people fear them, or they're tough, or they're this, or they're that. Whatever happened to want to just be a good person.
Damn.
But let me talk about a few more of these traits here, because we're going to have to revisit this right here, because I've kind of figured this would take up a lot of time. But an emotionally mature person, like I said, they'll also have those deep and meaningful discussions, but they stay calm and they stay centered and they stay grounded. You can't just disrupt somebody who's in their maturity. Because say like if somebody's messing with you in a certain type of way, if you ignore them because they don't really matter, then they can't affect your spirit. But if I allow somebody to have me react a certain way, then I gave them control over my own spirit. It's my spirit.
It's my spirit.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like giving them my self-control. It's called self-control for a reason. I'm allowing somebody else to control me with their words. That's how weak.
It's a hard thing to do, but you're right.
But see, that's where we gotta practice it.
Yeah, we gotta practice it. You're right.
If I let somebody disrupt my spirit, that's my fault. That's my fault. That meant that I was weak. I didn't have control over my spirit. Yeah. Just because somebody else didn't have control over theirs.
Shout out to Maury Dan until he used to always say that.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Check this out. Emotionally mature people, I already said they engage in those hard conversations. Matter of fact, they want to engage in those hard conversations because we know that it's going to make the situation better. Especially if you have both parties that's on the same page. And so we incorporate this in relationships. When we talk about male and female, then our communication skills get so much better because then we're not afraid to have those conversations.
I don't understand how people in relationships and it ain't no truth there.
Say, you can say that again.
I don't understand.
Listen, you can literally
or
say
in
that
relationships again. And it ain't no truth there, like no God honest truth. That's. I mean, how you being fulfilled in that relationship?
That's why people have so many different relationships.
Damn.
See, it shouldn't be like we keep having all these different relationships. So the more relationships a person have, the least likely they're going to be married. Like I say, I can confess this. I've been married 4 times. Now, that says something about me. I would prefer to be married, but because everybody don't work on their self, everybody's not trying to be right, everybody's not trying to give their best. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody don't want to acknowledge who they are. Everybody don't want to acknowledge the traumas that they've already experienced and work on them to eliminate that so that they don't take that into the next relationship.
There you go.
But a person who works on themselves, they know what they have to bring to a table. I know what I have to bring to a table. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, I've been married now, like I say, on the 18th of this month, it was 17 years together. I mean, 17 years married.
Right.
But in June of this coming year, it'll be 18 years together.
Got you.
You see what I'm saying? So I know what I bring to the table, and unlike some people, I don't just want to have relationships just for the sake of saying I'm being with somebody, because in that way I'm just transgressing. I'm not serious. So I wanted to have a wife, and I don't have a problem being that traditional husband. But I think any woman that has a modern mindset do not deserve a traditional husband.
We talked about that.
You don't deserve it, because you have modern women out here today, even in dating, talking about they want a traditional man. Mm-hmm. That traditional man should be covering his wife. You see what I'm saying? Not financing somebody else's lifestyle who might not be in that relationship long. Nowadays, people in it for what they can get. I want to get you before you get me.
Moriah Cole said many people go to relationship, but they're choosing the same person.
Exactly.
With different bodies.
He got it. You got it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, people will go to their next relationship also before they evaluate themselves again, to put themselves under the microscope and see if they played a part in the dissolvement of that relationship, and if so, what they need to do to start repairing that so you don't get the same results over and over again. A lot of times people are in a relationship not to get married because they just don't want to be by themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So a lot of times it's for the wrong reasons. Let me move a little bit faster on this right here. Emotionally mature people do their own work in therapy. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They do their own. They recognize that, man, I do have this issue or these issues that I need to straighten out, and can't nobody straighten them out but me. And if I don't straighten these issues out, then I'm bound to take those same issues into that next relationship and the relationship after that, because I am not yet whole. And if I can't present myself as a whole individual, you're not getting the best of me, and I'm not giving the best of me. But everybody's not going to acknowledge that.
Brilliant.
Like I say, the weaker, you got to be strong to be honest with yourself these days. So many people are living a lie. Hey, I'm okay. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Can't too many people say that they don't have any issues, man. Can't too many people at all. Matter of fact, I say all of us are bruised in one way or another.
Yes, we are.
The only difference is some people really do work on themselves. Sometimes when a relationship has ended between people, an individual might say, well, I'm just going to work on me. What does that mean? Because that person's not putting in any work. You know what I'm saying? To become a better individual, so that the next relationship that they in, they don't have those same type of scenarios or situations happening.
You said most people say that,
yeah,
and they just go back to normal anyway.
Yeah. I'm just going to do me. I'm just going to work on me. See, a lot of people, again, lie to themselves.
True story.
Check this out. Now, this is going to be deep, because you're going to find that the opposite sex don't always do this. But emotionally mature people, they give back to their relationships. In other words, that they like to use the word partner, but again, I told you, marriage ain't a partnership. So they give back. In other words, it's not a one-sided thing. When a person is emotionally right, emotionally mature, they're not just looking for somebody to do for them.
Yeah.
They want to be reciprocal.
In other words, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, that's a pet peeve of mine, right?
They want to be reciprocal. A lot of people like this, especially here in modern times. When you get, again, modern women always say, like, if they tell the man they want a provider, but they're not trying to be married, they're just trying to get their lifestyle financed. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So while we're dating, 2 weeks in, they expect you to do this. You know, if they already got children, hey, my child, hey, we need groceries in this house. And my car payment is past due. So wait a minute, you already broke, so you trying to break me, or either you trying to save your money. And I'm not talking about me personally, I'm just talking about in relationships. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a guy have to be mindful of that. Matter of fact, I'm going to be bold enough to say this right here, because I'm exposed a whole lot of stuff. Man, you are a sucker simp if you sit there and finance a woman just because y'all in a relationship together and you don't have any intentions of even asking her to marry you and she's not wife material. Now, every man, when you go to dating a woman, after just a short time, you already know if she's wife material. Matter of fact, you might know if she's wife material before you even start dating her. Because it seems like these times everybody has an agenda. And people are just trying to meet their agenda. So the only way we're going to fix this is men and women got to be, you got to want to do what's right.
What's right.
And emotionally, I know we got to wrap this up here shortly, but emotionally mature individual, they're going to heal their past traumas. Every time they realize they got something going, they're going to heal those things. They're not going to try to just leave that in the relationship that they're already in. And if that relationship fails, they're not going to try to take that same trauma into the next relationship if they love themselves. Because again, if I don't know how to love myself by treating myself well, then I don't know how to love you by treating you well. Because if I know I have issues and I'm not willing to fix my own issues, that means I don't love myself.
Real talk. Easy.
But see, a lot of times people don't consider certain things. They really don't. I think that a lot of people just tend to be selfish instead of being selfless. You hear what I'm saying? In relationships,
what's causing people to be selfish though? What is it that's causing people to be not team players, not want to play their role?
Because they've all, in a lot of cases, people have always been taught you got to look out for yourself.
Yeah.
You got to look out for yourself. So if you get some people in a relation, and this is not in all cases, but say if you get some people, male and female, in a relationship, and women then already been taught you don't need no man, this, that, and the other, and the man then already been taught, hey, you got to learn to look out for yourself. What's going to happen when you get to be older, right, and you played yourself and you never made the right type of choices, didn't end up getting married or having no children, now you done grew old, and it ain't nobody but you, and you to the point to where you might get ill or something. Who's going to help take care of you? If you can't work, where are those finances going to come from? So a lot of times we don't realize we played ourselves until like we're in a bad situation to where you don't have ain't no family there for you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? People don't want to be bothered with you because they knew you was always, that individual was always just full of something that wasn't right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Grimy.
There you go. But now you end up, you're older, you're sick, you don't have anybody that you know actually love you or want to be there with you as you started getting older. You're by yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't work, and sometimes you're not able to work, if you don't work, then you like can end up maybe on the streets in somebody's home or facility or something like that. Because you don't have anybody to help you with even buying food or making sure you keep a roof over your head. Mm-hmm. But we don't think about those things until it's way too late.
Oriel Cole said in many cases we have never seen people playing on a team in our communities. He says in many cases we have never seen people that are team players.
Hey, you know what? That's good. Now I'm going to say something, and this is exactly, you just hit the nail on the head. As I was coming up, I always played individual sports. In other words, I was into boxing, martial arts, bodybuilding. Those type of things carried on with me until I was, even to this very day, because I couldn't count on anybody but myself. Damn. So I didn't want to get into a sport to where I'm up here complaining, talking about, yeah, we lost because James wouldn't throw me the ball. Or he, ball hogs and this, that, and the other. No, I needed to be responsible for self. Yeah. And so I took on that mentality. See, I said I was going to be a better man in light in spite of what I did or didn't have.
Man, you talking about something that's really relevant right now because I think a lot of men feel like that today, especially a lot of black men. I feel like that sometimes. Like,
yeah, because it's a burden sometimes trying to get somebody to be right with you and have that same mindset. So literally, I took on any sport that I've gotten involved in. It was always an individual sport. That way, if I failed, I couldn't blame anybody but me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Right. And I like that. That held myself accountable. Yeah. So what I did is I always set my own personal standards high. That meant I had to work hard to achieve that. But once I achieved it, now all I got to do is maintain it. A lot of people said they standards so low.
But what you said, you always you a family man though. You still always looked out for family.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, I got to get me together before I can get anybody else together. And if a person ain't working on themselves, and I personally believe for me, it helped out a lot. It helped out a lot. My experience, if I had to do it over again, I probably wouldn't, as far as like going to the military. But I had to grow up early and learn how to become a man. I joined the military. Right. You see what I'm saying? So I have a military background. So I was willing to put myself through certain things because I needed to grow mentally. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people think that they're okay the way they are, male and female. They tend to think that they're okay. But let me give a couple more things here. We need to prioritize self-care. Emotionally mature people, they're going to prioritize self-care. I do a lot. Remember I said I believe in self-evaluation? I've been saying that for as long as, that's why my standards have, anything that I've ever done that you can remember, whether it be working out, doing this, whatever, I've always set a high standard for myself. That way I always had to work harder just to achieve those standards. I don't want to be one of those that their standards so low, it's on the floor already, all you got to do is step over it. And so that's just the way that I can remember. And an emotionally mature individual, they know how to fight fair. In other words, when you're in an argument, you don't say things that you can't take back. You see what I'm saying? You're not just trying to hurt a person when you get into a heated disagreement. But a lot of times, the opposite sex, they going to say something trying to tear you down. That's the reason it's not good to tell your little secrets. Like, say, if you peed in the bed till you was 13 or 14 years old, and you share that with her, and that's in common because you just open it up to her. You get to an argument, that's why your ass pissed in the bed till you was 13. You know what I'm saying? And just other little things. That's just an example, But, man, we got so much because I didn't get into the point to where, as we start to mature, then those are things that we start to realize as we get into that. I know we don't have too much time here because it's already after 3 o'clock, and I know you have someone else, but I knew this was going to take a while here. Yeah. Sure. But it just gets so deep, man, because there's even more to go with this because I got some other stuff. So, but
this was a great subject. I hope I didn't get a chance to send a link out to everybody, but I'm gonna make sure I send this out to certain people because this was a very enlightening conversation, emotional immaturity. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are suffering from it. They don't even realize.
And that's the reason a lot of our relationships fail.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with a lot of emotionally immature people, male and female.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And I have to be honest, more so, not taking away from the men's immaturity, but even more so women. Because women live. See, men are supposed to be logical, right? And women, they live in their emotions, and an honest woman will tell you that's the truth.
Yeah,
that's just straight up truth. And then when you have guys that are raised by a woman without a father there, they tend to be a lot more emotional as well. Mm-hmm. You see, so there's always a reason. What we have to do is we have to find out what's going on with us as individuals, and then those that want to be better. Then we have to start working to make those issues better. Matter of fact, even make them disappear. Because things that happened to us in the past don't have to define who we are.
Absolutely.
So, are there any questions, comments, or complaints?
We appreciate you, Moriah Cole, on the chat. Send this link out, share this link. Make sure everybody get this. Title of the video is Emotional Immaturity. Great subject. We appreciate you coming on today. What we got to look forward to next week? Are we going to continue?
Well, we're going to continue. We're going to continue with this. Y'all willing? We'll get into what is some of the things that we need to realize as we mature. There's some things there, and then there were some people who wanted me to speak on like when Uriah was talking about his vision before he was married, or before he takes a wife. We want to know about that. And then there was someone else who wanted me to speak on what it's like to deal with, or what they should expect in dealing with multiple wives in a relationship, which is actually something I said I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but I told them that I would speak on that. There's just a lot of different things that we didn't cover because I had some pages of things, because when it comes to relationships for me, I believe are really important because everybody need to have good relationships, whether it's relationships with your family, right, relationships with your mate, relationships on your job, just relationships inside your community. You see what I'm saying? And in order to have good relationships, first of all, we got to be of good character. And if we have good character, we're going to recognize what our flaws are and really want to straighten them out.
Last question, because we do gotta wrap it up. This is a good one. It says, do you feel like there is a power struggle that's going on between men and women in Israel specifically, amongst us as Israelites?
Absolutely, and let me explain it this way right here. If you look at statistics, even in marriage, last time I said it was 33%. I said black women divorce at a higher. We the least desire for marriage, right? But we divorce at a higher rate than any other nationality. I was wrong when I said it was 33%. I believe it's 38 point something percent that we divorce at a higher rate. Now, when we talk about is there a power struggle between our men and our women, black women are the only women that I've ever seen or heard on this planet talk about they're strong and independent. And I'm a strong, independent black woman. I use the example of saying, hey, let me be strong for you. You stay soft. You stay in your femininity. Independent meaning if you're independent, you don't need me. Men need to be needed, right? Need to be needed. I don't just want to be someplace where I'm just tolerated or whatnot. No, you need me. But if you're independent, you don't need anybody. So that scenario that I just gave, when somebody mess around and ruin their own life, and then they older, they don't have no children to help take care of them, they ain't got no significant other that's there with them because they wanted to be a certain way, they wanted to be aggressive, like a lot of women might be aggressive. You might have a lot of men who are just trying to be player. And so, yeah, there is a struggle. So now the system has been flipped to where they want to overthrow the patriarchy and turn into a matriarchy. Women are in positions now to where they're making a lot more money than a lot of different men. They get in the bag. That's when some of them want to call themselves boss bees. Another negative term, but a boss bee. So that means that boss bee, she's always going to be in her masculine. So she's going to end up being a single boss. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I definitely do believe in Israel. And I have to say specifically in Israel, because imagine this. And I've said this a bunch of times as well. When the Almighty destroyed the world with that flood, 8 people survived. 8 people. Israel's supposed to be the light. Israel's supposed to already know. But the Almighty already let us know Israel is the most hard-headed, stiff-necked, rebellious people on the planet. Period. And so, of course, things are completely out of order with men and women, because in a lot of cases, we don't know how to get along, because a lot of times, women don't want a good man. That's not all women. That's a lot of them. They don't want a good man. They definitely don't want a nice man, because they say a nice man, he's just trying to be a people pleaser. But they don't want a good man because they can't just run all over a good man. Do you see what I'm saying? And women, unfortunately, want to call the shots. And they've been told that they're a black queen. Now check this out. I've said it before, and I don't want to take a lot of time. But the fact of the matter is, we can only have one queen. And you're speaking of Israel. We can only have one queen and one king. And right now we don't have that. So if I call my wife my queen, that's just a term of endearment. If I call my son my little prince, that's a term of endearment. My little daughter, my little princess, that's just a term of endearment. Period. Period. Because we can only have one king and one queen, and the highest honor, and I've said this a bunch of times, that a woman can desire to have is to be a man's wife. But we don't have a whole lot of wife material going on right now, and we definitely don't have a whole lot of husband material going. So it's only going to get rougher. It's only going to get rougher. People don't know how to play their role, and then you have some people who don't want to play their role. Yep. A wife is supposed to be a helpmate, right? That means she should be ready to receive instruction. A lot of women don't want you telling them what you want them to do. So fellas, overlook them. Overlook them. I hope I answered that, but I could go on and on. But like I said, I know there's someone else waiting to get in here. Let's see. Yes, things need to be in this proper order. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That's a woman right there.
Sister Jackie right there.
Okay. Sister. Elder Jackie.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
We appreciate everybody tapping in on this specific segment. Continue to tap in. It's a lot of good information being passed. That's been going through this channel here. So we appreciate y'all, and may the Almighty bless and keep y'all. And we have another podcast coming up here, so stay tuned on the channel. All right. And
please pass this along. Pass it, and pass it to 3 or 4, 5 people, and tell them once they viewed it. Send some comments. You got the comment line open on this or whatnot, so people can make comments, and tell them to share that information. So you share with some people, how the people share with some people, because we want to bring some awareness to this channel about our situations here in Israel, and some of the challenges that we have, and some of the challenges that we need to overcome. All right. We appreciate you. Some of y'all go ahead and subscribe. I guarantee you won't be disappointed, because we're going to definitely try to bring the information that's needed so that we can start working on self. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Shalom.
Shalom.